7 touches that will make a mature woman fall deeply in love with you. Psychology tricks. People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou. A touch that lasts only a few seconds can do what hours of conversation cannot. It can quietly release oxytocin, the hormone that creates emotional bonding, and leave a lasting impression long after the moment has passed. This is not romantic imagination, it is biology. Yet most men move through life unaware of how powerful this simple act can be. They either overdo it, making a woman uncomfortable, or avoid it entirely, missing the very thing that could create genuine connection. Here is the truth many never say out loud. A mature woman is no longer impressed by polished words. She has heard compliments before. She has read thoughtful messages and experienced carefully planned dates. None of that is new to her. Words, no matter how well crafted, have limits. Over time, they lose their impact. What truly reaches her is something deeper, something instinctive. Touch, but not just any touch. Not the careless, uncertain kind that feels forced or rehearsed. What matters is intentional touch, calm, respectful, and confident. The kind that communicates without speaking. The kind that quietly says, "You are safe here," or "I understand you," or even "I see you." These messages cannot be faked, and they cannot be replaced with clever language. Research supports this in a powerful way. Psychologist Dr. Keltner conducted a study where strangers were asked to express emotions using nothing but brief contact on the forearm. No words, no facial cues, just touch. And remarkably, people were able to correctly identify emotions like love, gratitude, and compassion with striking accuracy, nearly 78% of the time. Think about that. A simple touch can communicate more clearly than most conversations. This is why some men seem to create instant emotional connection without saying much, while others talk endlessly and still remain distant. The difference is not in their words. It is in their presence and in how they use touch to express it. A mature woman, especially one who has experienced life, does not respond to surface-level attraction. She responds to depth, to subtle signals, to emotional intelligence expressed through action rather than speech. She feels the difference immediately. Before going further, understand this clearly. Some of the touches you are about to learn may seem almost too simple. You might underestimate them. Do not make that mistake. Often, the simplest gestures carry the deepest meaning. They are the ones that stay in her mind, not because they were dramatic, but because they felt real. And the final touch, the seventh one, is so psychologically powerful that even relationship experts recommend it to couples who are close to breaking apart. That is how deeply it can reconnect two people. So take a moment. Stay present. Because what comes next is not about tricks. It is about understanding human connection at a level most never reach. 1. The slow lower back guide. The slow lower back guide is not just a polite gesture, it is one of those rare psychology tricks that quietly reshape how she feels about you at a level she may not even be able to explain. And if you think this is just basic manners, stop and pay attention, because this is where female psychology reveals something deeper about how to fall in love in a way that feels natural, safe, and unforgettable. When you place your hand gently on the small of her back, while guiding her through a doorway, moving through a crowded room, or simply standing close beside her, you are not just touching her, you are communicating without words. And that is the language a mature woman trusts most, because words can be rehearsed, but presence cannot. That area of the lower back is incredibly sensitive, filled with nerve endings that connect directly to emotional processing centers in the brain. This means a slow, steady, warm touch there does not go through her logical filters. It goes straight to feeling. And that is where real connection begins. So don't rush it. Don't tap her like you are in a hurry. Don't push as if you are trying to control the moment, because she will feel that instantly, and it will break the effect before it even begins. Instead, be intentional. Let your hand rest there with calm confidence. Apply just enough pressure to say, "I'm present," not "I'm forcing." Hold it for a brief moment longer than expected, not awkwardly long, but long enough for her body to register your presence. Because timing matters, pressure matters, awareness matters, and these are the subtle details most men overlook when trying to understand psychology tricks or female psychology in real life. A quick, careless touch feels impersonal, almost dismissive, like something done out of habit, while a heavy or overly firm touch feels intrusive. But a slow, grounded, warm placement of your full palm signals something entirely different. It tells her nervous system that she is safe, that you are aware, that you are not distracted, and that you are tuned into her. And this is where how to fall in love truly begins, not with grand gestures, but with small, precise moments that build emotional trust. Her body interprets this as what psychologists describe as a protective bonding response, where the brain begins to associate your presence with calm and security, releasing oxytocin, the same hormone responsible for emotional bonding. Suddenly, without any dramatic conversation, she starts to feel different around you, more relaxed, more open, more receptive. And here is the deeper truth. A mature woman is not easily impressed by surface level charm. She has heard compliments before. She has seen effort that goes nowhere. She has experienced men trying too hard to say the right thing. So don't try to impress her with words, impress her with presence. Because she pays attention to how she feels around you more than what you say to her. This is why the slow lower back guide works so effectively within the framework of female psychology, because it meets her at the level of emotion rather than logic. And when you understand this, you stop chasing reactions and start creating experiences. That is what separates a man who understands psychology tricks from one who simply follows routines. You must also recognize that, for many mature women, life has required them to be strong, to carry responsibilities, to protect themselves emotionally and practically. Over time, that strength becomes a habit, even when they long to feel supported. So when your touch communicates, you don't have to carry everything alone in this moment. It creates a contrast she rarely experiences. And that contrast is powerful because attraction often grows in the space where relief meets trust. Do not misunderstand this, though. It is not about taking control. It is about offering presence. And there is a difference because control creates resistance, while presence creates openness. If you get this wrong, the same gesture can backfire. So be aware, be calm, be intentional, and let your energy lead the moment rather than forcing it. Think of it this way. When you guide her gently with your hand on her lower back, you are not leading her physically, you are leading the emotional tone of the interaction. You are setting a rhythm that says, I am grounded, I am aware, and I am here with you. That is the kind of presence that naturally draws her in without pressure or performance. And if you want to truly understand how to fall in love from her perspective, you must understand this. She is not choosing based on logic alone. She is choosing based on how consistently you make her feel safe, seen, and at ease. This is why such a small gesture can outweigh grand romantic efforts, because it is real, it is immediate, and it is felt in the body, not just processed in the mind. There was once a story shared by a woman in her late 40s who described how a man simply placed his hand on her back as they walked into a restaurant. And in that brief moment, she felt something she had not experienced in years, a sense of being chosen. Not through words, not through effort, but through presence. And that feeling stayed with her long after the moment passed. That is the kind of impact you are aiming for, not intensity, not pressure, but quiet, undeniable connection. So don't overlook the simplicity of this. Don't dismiss it as basic, because the most powerful psychology tricks are often the ones that appear ordinary on the surface, but carry depth in execution. If you want to truly master female psychology, you must learn to slow down, to pay attention, to feel the moment rather than rush through it. Because attraction is not built in loud moments, it is built in quiet ones, where she feels something shift inside her without knowing exactly why. Be that man who understands this, who moves with intention, who respects the power of subtlety. Because in the end, how to fall in love is not about overwhelming her with effort. It is about creating a space where she naturally leans closer, where she feels safe enough to open, and where your presence becomes something she quietly starts to crave. And it all begins with something as simple and as powerful as a slow, steady hand on her lower back. 2. The two-handed handhold. The two-handed handhold is one of the most overlooked gestures in modern dating, and that is exactly why it carries so much quiet power. Most men think holding hands is enough. It is not. Teenagers hold hands without thinking. That is casual. That is surface level. What you must understand is this: a mature woman does not respond to what is common, she responds to what is intentional. So don't just take her hand, envelop it. Bring your second hand over hers. Cradle it. Hold it as if you are fully there, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Do this in a moment that matters. Do it when she is speaking about something real. Do it when she opens up. Do it when silence feels honest instead of awkward. That is where the shift happens. This gesture works on a level most men never even consider. It taps into something deeper than attraction. It taps into emotional safety. There is a concept known as bilateral stimulation, often used in therapeutic settings like EMDR, where symmetrical physical input helps the brain process emotions and feel grounded. When both of your hands are holding one of hers, her mind begins to register something powerful: presence. Not distraction, not half attention, presence. And in a world where attention is scattered, divided, and constantly interrupted, that alone makes you stand out. That is how a high value man begins to separate himself from the crowd, not through flashy words, but through grounded actions. Understand this clearly. Most women have experienced men who were physically present but emotionally absent. They sat across from them at dinner while scrolling their phones. They nodded without listening. They responded without feeling. Over time, that creates a quiet disappointment, a kind of emotional fatigue. So when you step in and do something as simple, yet as rare, as holding her hand with both of yours while truly looking at her, you are not just being affectionate, you are rewriting her expectations. You are showing her what masculine energy looks like when it is focused, calm, and intentional. Don't rush it. Don't fidget. Be still. Let the silence exist. Let her feel that you are not going anywhere in that moment. That is what makes her nervous system relax. That is what makes her lean in, not physically at first, but emotionally. And once a woman begins to associate you with that feeling of calm and safety, attraction follows naturally. You don't chase it, you create it. That is how you attract women without trying too hard. And here is the truth most men ignore: contrast is everything. She has experienced years of inconsistency, distraction, and surface level attention. So when you show up with depth, even in something as small as a handhold, it feels amplified. It feels different. Her mind begins to make a quiet decision: this man is not like the others. And once that thought takes root, you are no longer competing. You are remembered. You are felt. That is the advantage of being a high value man. You don't need to prove yourself loudly, your presence speaks for you. Now, let's move to the forehead touch, which is perhaps one of the most emotionally disarming gestures you can offer, yet it is rarely used with awareness. Most men think intimacy has to be dramatic, fast, or physical in an obvious way. That is a mistake. Real emotional connection is subtle. It is quiet. It builds in moments that feel almost sacred. The forehead touch is one of those moments. This is not about a quick kiss. This is not about escalation. This is about connection. You gently bring your forehead to hers. No rush. No pressure. Just contact. Eyes naturally close. Breathing slows. The world fades into the background. And in that stillness, something powerful happens. Your energies begin to align. That may sound poetic, but it is grounded in real psychology. Dr. Sue Johnson, a leading voice in relationship science, speaks about bonding moments, those small interactions that activate our deepest attachment systems. The same systems that make a child feel safe in a mother's arms. The forehead touch triggers that same system in adults. It creates a sense of closeness that words cannot replicate. But here is the key: it requires vulnerability. You cannot fake this. You cannot do it from a distance. You must step in. You must slow down. You must allow yourself to be present without needing to control the outcome. That is where masculine energy shows its true strength, not in force, but in calm confidence. A mature woman, especially, will feel this deeply. She has built walls, not out of bitterness, but out of experience. She has learned to protect her peace. So when you offer a moment like this, gentle, grounded, and without expectation, it does not feel invasive. It feels safe. It feels earned. It feels real. And that is rare. Don't break the moment with unnecessary words. Don't laugh it off because it feels intense. Stay there. Let the silence speak. Let her feel that you are not uncomfortable with closeness, that you are not rushing to the next step, that you are fully capable of being present in something simple and meaningful. That alone communicates a level of emotional intelligence that most men never reach. This is where many fail. They feel the intimacy building, and instead of holding it, they disrupt it. They make a joke. They pull away too soon. They shift the energy. Why? Because they are not comfortable with stillness. But you must be. You must train yourself to stay grounded in those moments. Because that is where real attraction grows, not in noise, but in quiet connection. And here is something you need to remember. Attraction is not always about excitement. Sometimes it is about peace. Sometimes it is about the feeling of, I can breathe around this person. When you create that feeling, you are no longer just someone she enjoys. You become someone she trusts. And trust is the foundation of deep attraction. So don't underestimate these gestures. They're simple, yes, but simplicity, when done with intention, becomes powerful. That is the difference between average behavior and the actions of a high-value man. One goes through the motions. The other creates meaning in every small detail. Be deliberate. Be calm. Be present. That is how you embody masculine energy in a way that naturally draws her in. You don't need tricks. You don't need to impress. You need to understand human emotion and respond to it with awareness. That is how you attract women who are not just interested, but deeply connected. And once that connection is felt, it does not fade easily. Because what you gave her was not just attention. You gave her something she may not have felt in a long time, real presence. And in a world full of distraction, that is one of the most attractive things a man can offer. Don't underestimate this. Most men chase attention. Few men create safety. That is the difference that makes a woman stay. If you truly understand the power of presence, prove it. Drop this in the comments right now. I give my full presence, not half attention. Like this video, subscribe for more real insight, and remember, a man who is fully present is a man who cannot be replaced. 3. The back of the neck touch. The back of the neck touch is not just a gesture, it is a signal, a message, a quiet declaration of awareness that separates a man who drifts through interactions from a man who understands human nature at a deeper level. And you must treat it that way. Because this is not about random contact, this is about precision, timing, and emotional intelligence guided by old Stoic wisdom, the kind that teaches you restraint before action and awareness before desire. As Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events, and that includes the discipline to know when a moment is ready and when it is not. The nape of the neck is one of the most sensitive and vulnerable areas on the human body, filled with nerve endings and psychologically tied to trust and exposure. And when you place your hand there with calm intention, not hesitation, not force, not neediness, her mind immediately begins a silent evaluation. Is this man safe? Is he grounded? Does this feel right? And if your presence has already answered those questions before your hand ever moves, the response becomes automatic, almost involuntary. Her breathing shifts, her body relaxes, her attention sharpens. This is where most men fail because they focus on the action instead of the foundation. They think the touch creates the connection, when in reality, the connection allows the touch. That is the principle you must understand. That is the discipline you must adopt. Because Stoicism win is not about tricks, it is about alignment between your inner state and your external behavior. And if your energy is scattered, uncertain, or seeking validation, no technique will save you. But if your presence is steady, composed, and intentional, even the smallest gesture becomes powerful. This touch works because it creates a rare combination of emotional signals, comfort and attraction at the same time, safety and excitement. And that dual response is what forms deep attachment, not surface level interest, not fleeting attraction, but something that lingers, something that stays. Something that a mature woman recognizes immediately because she has lived enough to distinguish empty gestures from meaningful ones. She has heard every compliment, seen every performance, and she no longer reacts to noise. She responds to presence. When your hand rests gently at the back of her neck in the right moment, you are not just touching her, you are communicating without words. I see you. I understand the moment. I am not rushing. I am not forcing. I am here. That message is rare. That message is valuable. That message is what sets you apart. But do not misunderstand this. Do not rush to apply it like a shortcut, because without the right timing, it collapses instantly. It becomes uncomfortable, misplaced, even alarming. And that is why discipline matters more than desire, patience more than impulse, because you cannot skip steps, you cannot bypass connection, you cannot fake presence. You must build it, moment by moment, through eye contact, through listening, through calm confidence, through the ability to be there without trying to impress. Only then does this touch become natural, almost inevitable, and when it happens in that flow, it does not feel like a move. It feels like a continuation of something already understood between you. This is where your iron mind must lead you, not your emotions, not your impulses, because an iron mind does not chase outcomes, it creates conditions. It does not react to pressure, it stays centered, and that is exactly what makes this touch effective. Not the fingers, not the skin, but the state of the man behind it. This is deeply relevant in modern life, where distractions are constant, attention is fragmented, and most interactions are shallow, rushed, and disconnected, because today, more than ever, people crave presence. They crave someone who is actually there, not scrolling, not performing, not trying too hard, just grounded, aware, and intentional. And when you bring that energy into your interactions, every gesture becomes amplified, every moment becomes meaningful, every connection becomes deeper. As Seneca said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. And this touch is exactly that, an opportunity that only works if you have prepared your mindset, your presence, your awareness. Because without that preparation, it is nothing. But with it, it becomes one of the most powerful forms of nonverbal communication you can use. Remember this clearly. Repeat it until it becomes instinct. Do not force, do not rush, do not seek approval. Be calm, be present, be deliberate. That is the standard. That is the path. And that is how you turn a simple touch into a moment she will not forget, not because it was dramatic, but because it was right. In a world full of noise, being right in the moment is what creates real impact, real attraction, real connection, and that is how Stoicism win becomes not just a concept, but a way you move, a way you act, a way you live, with quiet confidence, steady awareness, and an iron mind that never loses control. 4. The thumb stroke. The thumb stroke is not where you begin. It is where you arrive, because this is not a trick for strangers. It is a refinement built on trust, and a mature woman feels that difference instantly. She knows when something is rushed, and she knows when something unfolds naturally. So understand this clearly. This is progression, not a shortcut, and if you try to use it without presence, without connection, it will fall flat. But when done right, it becomes one of the most powerful psychology tricks you will ever learn, because it speaks directly to female psychology in a way words never can. Now, the thumb stroke itself is simple, almost invisible, and that is exactly why it works. It happens when you are already holding her hand, or when your hand is resting calmly on her arm, her shoulder, or her knee. And without breaking the flow of the moment, without making it a performance, your thumb begins to move slowly, gently, back and forth across her skin. Not rushed, not exaggerated, just small, steady, rhythmic motion, like a quiet signal that says, I am here. And here is where most men get it wrong. They overthink, they force it, they turn it into a move. Don't do that. Don't announce it. Don't look at your hand. Don't seek validation. Just be present and let it happen naturally while you continue the conversation. Because the real power is not in the movement itself, it is in the unconscious response it creates. This is where psychology tricks meet biology, because beneath her skin are specialized nerve fibers called C-tactile afferents. These nerves are not like the ones that detect pressure or temperature. They're designed specifically to respond to slow, gentle stroking touch. And when activated, they send signals directly to the emotional centers of the brain, the areas tied to bonding, comfort, and connection. This is not theory. This is science rooted deeply in female psychology and how to fall in love on a neurological level. Studies, including those from researchers at the University of Gothenburg, show that this kind of touch activates the insular cortex, the region responsible for emotional awareness and intimacy. So when your thumb moves slowly across her skin, you are not just touching her physically, you are triggering a subtle emotional response that makes her feel safe, seen, and connected, even if she cannot explain why. And that is the key, because attraction is rarely logical, it is felt. It is experienced in the body before it is understood in the mind. And when you master psychology tricks like this, you begin to operate on that deeper level. Now listen carefully, because this is where it becomes powerful. A mature woman has history. She has experienced relationships where affection felt forced, where gestures felt rehearsed, where touch came with expectation instead of presence. So when she feels something different, something soft, unforced, almost absent-minded, it stands out immediately. It creates contrast, and contrast creates emotional impact. She begins to think, he is not trying too hard. He is not performing. This is just who he is. And that belief, that sense of natural ease, is what lowers her guard, not because she is convinced, but because she feels it. And feelings drive connection far more than logic ever will. This is why you must understand that how to fall in love is not about grand gestures. It is about consistent, subtle signals that build trust over time. It is about showing rather than telling, doing rather than explaining, being rather than performing. And the thumb stroke embodies that principle perfectly. It is quiet, it is controlled, it is intentional without being obvious. And that combination creates a powerful emotional imprint. Be calm, be grounded, be patient. Don't rush to create intensity, let it build. Because when a woman feels that slow, rhythmic touch in a moment of connection, during a conversation, during a pause, during a shared silence, it anchors the emotion of that moment into her body. And later, when she thinks of you, she does not just remember what you said, she remembers how you made her feel. And that is where real attraction lives. Now, let's go deeper, because this is not just about one action, it is about the mindset behind it. You must understand that psychology tricks are not manipulation, they are awareness. They are about understanding female psychology so you can communicate in a way that resonates naturally. And when you approach it with that mindset, everything changes. You stop chasing reactions, you start creating experiences, you stop seeking approval, you start offering presence. And that shift is what separates a man who struggles from a man who attracts effortlessly. Don't be mechanical. Don't be predictable. Don't treat this like a checklist, because women, especially mature women, can sense intention immediately. Instead, focus on connection. Focus on being fully engaged in the moment. And let your actions reflect that, because when your touch aligns with your presence, it becomes powerful, it becomes believable, it becomes real. And here is something most people will never tell you. Subtlety creates mystery, and mystery sustains attraction. When everything is obvious, when every move is exaggerated, there is no room for curiosity, no room for emotional exploration. But when something is felt more than it is seen, when it is experienced without being fully understood, it lingers. It stays in her mind. It pulls her back toward you. And that is exactly what this does. So use it wisely, not as a shortcut, but as a continuation of connection, as a natural extension of a moment that already exists. Because that is where it becomes almost unfair, not because it is deceptive, but because it is deeply aligned with how human connection actually works. It bypasses surface-level interaction and goes straight to emotional experience. And when you can do that consistently, when you can create moments that feel effortless yet meaningful, You become unforgettable, not because you tried to impress, but because you understood how to make her feel something real. And in the end, that is what every woman is drawn to: not perfection, not performance, but presence, calm, steady, intentional presence expressed through the smallest, simplest actions that speak louder than words ever could. If this opened your eyes, don't just watch, apply it. Like the video, subscribe for more sharp psychological insight, and step into your power with intention. Then drop this in the comments to lock it in. I create connection through calm, subtle presence, not force. 5. The silent pull. The silent pull. Not the grand gestures, not the expensive gifts, not the rehearsed lines. It is the quiet, almost invisible movement, the unconscious glide of your thumb, the subtle shift of your body, the way you close distance without asking. That is what love actually feels like to a woman who has already seen everything else. She is not impressed by noise anymore. She is moved by presence. And this is where most men fail. They try to impress. They try to perform. Don't. Be still. Be intentional. That is where your power begins. A high-value man understands that attraction is not created through effort alone, but through awareness, timing, and emotional precision. This is how you attract women without saying a word. This is masculine energy in its most refined form. Touch number 6 is what I call the silent pull. It is simple, but do not confuse simple with easy. You are sitting beside her, or standing next to her. There is space between you. Not physical space alone, but emotional space. And without announcing it, without asking, without breaking the moment with words, you reach over and gently pull her closer. Maybe your arm wraps around her shoulder. Maybe your hand settles at her waist and draws her in. No hesitation, no awkwardness, just a smooth, natural movement. That is the difference. That is everything. This works because of a principle known as proximity seeking. In attachment psychology, closeness is not just desired, it is instinctive. When two people feel safe, they move toward each other. Not away, not cautiously, naturally. So when you initiate that closeness without asking, you're communicating something powerful. You're saying, being near you feels right. And you are saying it without disrupting the moment. That is key. Words can lie. Movement rarely does. But here is what most men do wrong. They hesitate. They overthink. They wait for permission that is never explicitly given. Don't. Be decisive. Be calm. That is masculine energy. Not force. Not pressure. But quiet certainty. A high-value man does not ask, "Is this okay?" in every small moment. He reads the energy. He feels the connection. Then he acts with respect and confidence. That is how you attract women who are emotionally mature, because they are not looking for perfection. They are looking for presence. Now understand this. A mature woman, especially one who has lived, loved, and learned, carries a history. She has likely been in relationships where closeness was conditional, where affection came with expectations, where physical touch was tied to something being taken, not given. She may have felt that she had to earn intimacy, that she had to be pleasing, agreeable, or impressive just to receive warmth. That leaves a mark. It shapes how she experiences connection. So when you pull her closer without any agenda, without any performance, without any hidden intention, you do something rare. You change the pattern. You rewrite the story. You show her that closeness can exist without pressure, that her presence alone is enough, that she does not need to prove anything to be held close. And that moment, as small as it looks from the outside, lands deeply inside her. Don't rush it. Don't overdo it. Timing matters. Context matters. You must feel the moment. Maybe it happens during a quiet conversation. Maybe during a pause in a movie. Maybe when she has just shared something personal, something real. That is your window. Not to speak more. Not to fix anything. But to gently reduce the distance. That is emotional intelligence in action. And here is the truth most men never realize. When you do this right, she will not analyze it. She will not break it down. She will feel it. And feelings are what create attachment. Not logic. Not explanation. That is why a single, well timed gesture can be more powerful than hours of talking. This is how a high value man stands out, not by doing more, but by doing what matters at the right time in the right way. Be aware. Be grounded. Don't chase reactions. Don't look for immediate validation. That is not the point. The point is consistency. The point is authenticity. When your actions align with your presence, when your touch matches your intention, you create something rare, something steady, something real. That is what attracts women who are tired of surface level connections. Masculine energy is not loud. It does not beg for attention. It moves with quiet confidence. It leads without forcing. It connects without overwhelming. And the silent pull embodies all of that. It is not about control. It is about connection. Not about taking space, but about sharing it. So remember this. Don't try to impress her. Don't try to win her over with grand displays. Be the man who understands the power of subtlety. Be the man who knows when to close the distance. Because sometimes the smallest movement carries the deepest meaning. And in that quiet moment, when she leans into you without thinking, when her body relaxes against yours, when she feels safe without knowing why, that is when attraction turns into something more. 6. The long hold hug. The long hold hug carries more emotional force than almost anything else on this list, and you need to understand that clearly, because most men still underestimate the difference between touching a woman and truly calming her spirit. This is not the quick squeeze you give out of habit. It is not the casual side hug that keeps one foot out the door. It is not the distracted embrace with a few pats on the back that says, "I showed up, now let me go." No, this is the long hold hug, both arms fully wrapped around her, chest to chest, present, grounded, unhurried, and held for at least 20 seconds. That number matters. It matters because the body keeps score, and the body does not respond to emptiness, performance, or hesitation. It responds to safety. It responds to sincerity. It responds to steadiness. As Maya Angelou said, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. That is the heart of this touch. A mature woman has heard enough words to last a lifetime. She has heard promises. She has heard compliments. She has heard charm delivered with a smile and forgotten by morning. What she remembers is how a man makes her nervous system feel. Does she tense up around you, or does she soften? Does she brace herself, or does she breathe? Does she feel watched, managed, and measured, or does she feel safe enough to rest? That is the real test. That is where men win or lose without even realizing it. A long hold hug, done right, is not just affection. It is a message. It says, you do not have to perform here. You do not have to explain yourself here. You do not have to hold the whole world up for the next 20 seconds. I've got you. And that message lands with extraordinary force in a woman who has spent years carrying more than most people ever noticed. By the time a woman reaches her 40s, 50s, 60s, or beyond, life has usually taught her restraint. She has known disappointment. She has known silence. She has likely carried grief with grace and pain with dignity. She has learned how to smile when she is tired, how to keep moving when she is wounded, how to stay composed when she feels unseen. She became her own support system because life demanded it. She became careful because experience trained her to be. So when a man offers a genuine, grounded, unhurried embrace, not for show, not to rush toward romance, not to extract something from her, but simply to hold her with calm presence, something profound happens. Her guard does not collapse because she is fragile. It softens because she finally feels she does not have to be on alert. That is not a small thing. That is not sentimental fluff. That is relief. That is trust beginning in the body before the mind has even caught up. Research often points to the biological side of this. Longer hugs are associated with oxytocin release and lower stress responses, which means the right embrace can do more than feel good for a moment. It can help the body move away from tension and toward regulation. In plain American English, her breathing slows, her shoulders drop, her pulse eases, and the guarded part of her stops scanning for danger. That is why this matters. You are not trying to impress her. You're giving her a rare experience in modern life, peace. In a world full of noise, speed, screens, mixed signals, and shallow attention, peace is magnetic. In a culture that teaches people to move fast and feel little, the man who knows how to be still, warm, and present stands apart immediately. Remember that. Fast gets attention. Safe gets chosen. A mature woman is not looking for another performance. She is looking for truth. She is looking for consistency. She is looking for a man whose energy does not spike and vanish, but settles and stays. That is where old Stoic wisdom becomes practical. The Stoics taught that strength is not loudness. Strength is self-command. Strength is calm under pressure. Strength is the ability to remain steady when the world is chaotic. That same principle applies here. When you hug her, do not fidget. Do not joke your way out of intimacy. Do not turn tenderness into theater. Be still. Be grounded. Let your presence do the talking. Let your silence say, I am here. That is attractive. That is memorable. That is rare. Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Apply that here. Do not explain warmth. Offer it. Do not talk about emotional safety. Create it. Do not claim depth. Demonstrate it. The handhold hug is powerful because it is embodied character. It is patience in physical form. It is protection without pressure. It is affection without demand. It is leadership without force. And yes, that lands deeply with a mature woman because she can instantly tell the difference between a man who is centered and a man who is simply trying to look centered. Women at this stage of life read energy quickly. They notice the rush. They notice the agenda. They notice the insecurity hidden under charm. So if you want this touch to work, you must master yourself first. Slow down. Empty your mind of the urge to win approval. Drop the need to prove something. Stand there like a man with an iron mind, a calm heart, and clean intentions. Hold her like you are not afraid of closeness. Hold her like you are not in a hurry to escape tenderness. Hold her like you understand that the deepest form of attraction is not always excitement. Sometimes it is exhale. Sometimes it is rest. Sometimes it is the shocking experience of being with someone who does not drain you. Seneca said, wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. That quote matters here more than most men realize. Kindness is not softness without backbone. Kindness is disciplined warmth. Kindness is emotional control used in service of another person's peace. And that kind of kindness is unforgettable. The handhold hug is not about clinging. It is not about overdoing it. It is not about invading her space. Timing matters. Context matters. Consent matters. Trust matters. You do not force depth. You earn it. You do not use this touch as a trick. You use it as a truthful extension of the connection that is already there. That is the difference between wisdom and manipulation. One builds trust. The other destroys it. So be intelligent. Read the moment. If she has opened up to you, if she has shared something personal, if she is happy to see you, if the warmth is mutual, then step in fully and hold with intention. Not loose, not uncertain, not halfway. Halfway is forgettable. Halfway communicates doubt. Halfway says your body is here, but your spirit is not. A full embrace, by contrast, communicates conviction. It says, I mean this. And in modern relationships, where so much is vague, coded, and temporary, conviction is deeply attractive. This is one reason relationship experts keep returning to the healing power of prolonged physical closeness. It rebuilds trust because it creates a nonverbal experience of consistency. She does not just hear that you care. She feels it in real time. That is why this matters for men between 35 and 70 especially. At this age, real connection matters more than performance. Depth matters more than flash. Presence matters more than polish. And the men who understand that are the men who leave a mark. Not because they were the loudest, because they were the safest, because they were the steadiest, because they knew how to bring calm instead of confusion. That is Stoicism when in real life. Not coldness, not emotional distance, not pretending you need nothing. Real Stoicism is ordered feeling. It is governed strength. It is knowing that your power is greatest when it makes someone else feel protected, not pressured. Read that again. Your power is greatest when it gives peace. That is old Stoic wisdom. That is mature masculinity. That is what separates a man who only gets attention from a man who earns devotion. And here is the practical advice. The next time you embrace a woman you deeply care about, do not rush. Do not count in your head like you are following a cheap script, but do stay long enough for the moment to become real. Breathe slowly. Relax your shoulders. Let the hug settle. Let her nervous system register that you are not pulling away at the first flicker of vulnerability. Let your presence communicate you are safe here. Then release gently, not abruptly, like a man who is fully in command of himself. That kind of control is attractive. That kind of patience is attractive. That kind of warmth, anchored by an iron mind, is profoundly attractive. It tells her you are not just another restless man chasing stimulation. You are a man who can create refuge. And refuge is unforgettable. A mature woman may admire your intelligence. She may respect your ambition. She may enjoy your humor. But she bonds most deeply with the man who helps her feel at peace in her own skin. Never forget that. In a hard world, be the soft place she does not have to earn. In a noisy world, be the quiet she trusts. In a hurried world, be the pause that heals. That is not small. That is not ordinary. That is the kind of touch that stays with her after you are gone. That is the kind of touch she remembers at night. That is the kind of touch that turns affection into attachment and interest into decision. Because when a woman feels deeply relieved in your presence, when her body learns that your arms mean calm instead of chaos, she does not just feel drawn to you once. She starts choosing you on purpose, again and again, with care, with clarity, with intention. That is how real love often begins, not in fireworks, but in safety, not in noise, but in stillness, not in pressure, but in peace. So master this. Use it with sincerity. Use it with timing. Use it with character. Let old Stoic wisdom guide your actions. Let Stoicism win in the way you carry yourself. Build an iron mind, and then let that inner strength become warmth in your arms. Because the man who knows how to hold a woman without rushing, without fear, without pretense, is the man she will remember, the man she will trust, and very often, the man she will love. 7. The forehead touch. The forehead touch is where everything changes, and if you understand this, you separate yourself from the noise of modern dating immediately. This is not about impressing her, it is about meeting her where she truly lives, emotionally, quietly, honestly. When you gently rest your forehead against hers, no rush, no agenda, no performance, you create a moment that most people today are too distracted to even recognize, let alone master. Her eyes close, your breathing aligns, and for a few seconds, the world disappears. This is not romance in a superficial sense. This is connection at its purest level. As Dr. Sue Johnson explains through emotionally focused therapy, these are bonding moments, small, silent interactions that activate deep emotional security, the same system that forms trust from the earliest stages of life. And here is the truth most men never realize. A mature woman is not looking for constant stimulation. She is looking for emotional safety. She has seen enough, experienced enough, and filtered out enough to know when something is real. The forehead touch works because it asks for nothing, it takes nothing, it simply offers presence. And presence is rare. Presence is power. As Marcus Aurelius taught through Old Stoic wisdom, you have power over your mind, not outside events, and in this moment, you demonstrate exactly that. You are not reacting, not chasing, not forcing, you are grounded, still, controlled. That is Stoicism when in action. That is iron mind made visible. Do not rush it. Do not turn it into a joke. Do not break the silence because you feel uncomfortable. Stay there. Let the silence speak for you. Because when you can hold that space without needing to escape it, you show a level of emotional discipline that most men never develop. In a world addicted to speed, you slow down. In a world full of noise, you become quiet. And that contrast is what makes her feel something real. Remember this. Attraction is not always built through excitement. It is built through trust, and trust is built in moments like this. A forehead touch says, I am here. I am steady. I am not going anywhere. And for a woman who has learned to protect her peace, that message goes deeper than words ever could. This is why old Stoic wisdom still wins today. It teaches you to master yourself first, to develop that iron mind that does not seek validation, but creates value through presence. So when you use this touch, do it with intention, do it with calm authority, do it without expectation. Because the man who can create stillness in a chaotic world is the man who stands out without trying. That is Stoicism win. That is how you lead without force. That is how you create connection that lasts. Hey, my friend, I'm really glad you stayed until the end. Listen carefully. None of what you learned today is about tricks or manipulation. It's about awareness. It's about slowing down. It's about being the kind of man who is actually present. Because that's what a mature woman responds to. Not noise, not pressure, not performance. Presence, intention, calm, steady energy. You don't need more money. You don't need a perfect script. You need to pay attention, to feel the moment, and to act with quiet confidence. That is what separates a man who is forgotten from a man who is deeply felt. And here's my honest advice to you. Don't rush this. Don't try to use all 7 touches at once. Be patient. Let things unfold naturally. Read her energy. Respect her space. When you do that, everything becomes effortless. That's when connection turns real. Now, if you're serious about this, if you truly want to understand her on a deeper level, then don't stop here. Because knowing how to touch is powerful, but knowing when she already wants you, that's game-changing. So go ahead, click the next video on your screen right now. Trust me, your future self will thank you.